Maintenance tools, cleaning spray, but no gun.
In their closet?
Maybe it's their outdoor gear. There's fishing equipment in here as well.
Are you taking stuff again?
It might be useful. Call it a hunch.
You know what? I've been thinking a lot lately, and I think a lot of people are like me, and we're getting burnt out and depressed. It seems like we're overworking ourselves. We don't feel a whole lot of achievement or a whole lot of enjoyment. We get these pangs of desire, anxiety, then these moments of bliss, these moments of relief. And I said, after completing mouthwash, and I said, I think that people spend too much time pursuing happiness, which I still believe is the case. But one thing that's been bringing me a lot of calm, but not a whole lot, but just seems like a good idea, is now that I feel like the country's going back to normal. I feel like we can all go back to being normal. And I feel like that was also part of the problem. I could be wrong, but I still feel that was part of the problem, is we spent so many years being anything but normal. Like the past 25 years of my life, I feel like they haven't been normal. Culturally or politically speaking, they have not been normal. And by normal, I mean, when I was a child, when I was young, I was going camping and stuff with my uncle, and we would do it all the time, like every summer. And my uncle, my cousins, we'd go to baseball games and things like that. All of that seemed normal looking back at it. And then when I got to later, 13, 14, it's like the world was different. What we did from that point was not entirely exactly the same. It seems all sense of normalcy went out the door, and no longer did people want to do that sort of thing. Now they were doing weird shit. Things with computers, things with gizmos, video games. Hey, I'll always stick by video games, don't get me wrong. Music, all sorts of weird bands are coming out, like Slipknot, Mudvayne, Rammstein. It's just I'm not saying any of that's wrong or bad or anything, but that's where I'm saying where things have started to change and get weird. And then the things were, and I don't think this was just the process of going through adolescence either. I don't think it was the process of turning into a teenager. I think there was something weird about it, because most people, like my parents and stuff, the most they would do is they go to a rock concert and smoke a joint. They still played baseball and they still played football and joined the cheerleading squad and all of that. We were doing a lot of weird shit. And I feel strangely we just kept that trajectory up, incorporating social media and this litany of sort of regulations and rules we need to adhere to politically and culturally and mentally. These thoughts that we have to keep to ourselves and alienate ourselves from having any sense of identity. It feels like that we had to stay in lockstep with all the marching orders from this sort of social hierarchy of media figures who are listening to talking heads and all these people from the government who are just placating them all the time. And it just got really bizarre the way people began to behave. And we spent a good chunk of time in limbo in that state for many years. And I think it's gotten to a point to where it's that's sort of not the norm anymore, because it became the norm well, the camping, the going to the baseball game and stuff like that when I was younger, that was the norm. But then the norm transitioned into something completely alien to that. And now I feel like we're going back to that sort of baseball norm. Because I'm telling you, if there's something that's bringing me like a lot of calm, a lot of relief, not a whole lot, but like a lot of the time, people like ask me, "Oh, what'd you do lately? What'd you do?" You know, I say things like, I went to the dojo, I trained, I picked up some Warhammer gear, played video games, streamed videos, But like, if there's one thing I could say to people, and one thing I actually do want to do, that's just easily gonna shut them up and not make them so interested or make them so critical. Like, yeah, going to the dojo, playing video games, things like, people get so critical over that. They do. I'm not kidding, because they think the things they do are normal. But I've been thinking about a lot. It's just like, I went fishing. I went fishing. I feel that just immediately shuts people up. They can't criticize you for fishing. Fishing is normal, and it's something I want to do. Now that things are just like, it feels like safe to do it. It feels normal to do something like that. I just want to go somewhere with a buddy, and just sit back and bullshit about life while we catch fish. It just seems like it's appropriate to do that now. Whereas beforehand, we had to be all exuberant and do the dumbest shit possible and get the most attention possible online doing it. And it doesn't seem like we have to do that anymore, and it seems like I can now do something boring and ordinary, and it's acceptable. Like, that's what I'm saying. And I kind of want the trajectory of things to return to this way for this fucking country. I think we really need to do that. We need to start going back to baseball games. We need to start going camping, hunting, even going to church. I'm not a big believer, okay? I still consider myself in many realms somewhat of an atheist. Mostly an atheist, but still I believe that one of the problems is that people haven't been going to church. They haven't been staying faithful to something. They've become incredibly nihilistic, like that guy who stuck the banana up his butt, the amazing atheist. I mean, if you want to really sit there and shit on me for saying that religion's this good thing for people, well, guess what? You're the type of person who looks up to the guy who became notorious and who actually became famous. If you didn't know this, Amazing Atheist became famous because specifically because he stuck a banana up his butt and poured hot oil over himself and recorded it. He was spanking himself with a spatula while he was doing this and beating off. Okay, he became famous for that. All right. Now, are you beginning to correlate what I was saying about how we had to do these weird things? When he could just went out and caught some fish. Like, that's what I'm saying. That was the norm for a while there, was doing weird shit like that. And that was what it was expected of you. And I'm saying we shouldn't expect that anymore. What we should expect is normalcy. Oh yeah, I went to the soccer game. I went ice skating. I went to church and I said 7 fucking Hail Marys. I confessed my sins. I don't know. I went to some stupid fucking some fair, some festival, normal shit. It's just normal shit. The things that this country used to be about. Now, that's not me saying that we can't incorporate all of these weird things that we still do. We're still gonna have those things, but like, it shouldn't be the norm anymore. These weird things shouldn't be the fucking norm. Like, if that makes any sense. I think it should just, we should have more values, and the reason people have been so cynical and so hateful towards one another, and they have, absolutely, people have been monsters for the last 10, 15, 20 years. It's just absolutely cynical, absolutely nihilistic, pessimistic, every ugly word in the book. I believe it's structurally because there is no system of actual morals or actual values. And the reason that system doesn't exist is because there's a complete abolishment of any sense of godliness to people. So if there's no godliness to people, if there's no sense of something watching over them that could literally destroy them with a thought, then people are going to behave like animals. That's my theory. That's how I feel about it, is if people do not have that sense to them, that sense of punishment for being a bad, horrible, awful human being, they're going to do terrible things. That doesn't speak for everybody, but that speaks for, I'm going to say, a large population of society. That's not me saying 50% of society, maybe 25%. That's still a pretty big fucking chunk. You're still going to deal with that 25% on a daily basis. You realize that. That's going to be a problem in your life. But it seems even more than that, maybe 30 to 40% of the population. I don't know. I do know that the majority of the population will believe whatever the fuck the media tells it. I do know that. And with this transition of power, I'm telling you this, if Elon Musk buys MSNBC, I will include him, and I every now and then I pray. Not often. I say a prayer every now and then. Maybe once a month. I will include him in that prayer. Every time I pray, I will include Elon Musk. Thank God for it. Thank you, Lord, for Elon Musk. You know, that's what I will do every single fucking night if he buys MSNBC. I will thank him. I will include him in every fucking prayer I say from here on out. Like I said, I'm not, when I pray to fucking Buddha. I pray to fucking Jesus. I pray to fucking Muhammad. I pray to, like, it's like that scene in The Mummy where Benny's pulling out all his trinkets because the mummy's killing him. That's what I'm like. I pray to every single one of them. Please don't smite me. Whoever you are, please don't spite me. I will include Elon Musk in that prayer if he buys MSNBC, because literally, God bless Elon Musk. God bless him. We would not be where we are right now if it wasn't for him. He needs to buy MSNBC, and he needs to give Alex Jones a time slot, okay? Alex Jones needs to become the face of the media. He needs to become the new fucking media. I'm telling you, it needs to happen. If you haven't noticed anything, I'm noticing it, but it seems like Alex Jones is toning down. And the reason I think he's doing that is because he's kind of being prepped for becoming that face of the media. And if he does become the face of media, he has to tone that shit down. That's just the bottom line. I would love to see a world where he becomes the media and he doesn't have to tone it down. He can sit there and scream and yell and say the craziest fucking shit, but I don't see that happening. He has to tone that shit down, because I think it's almost expected of him, just like Trump has toned things down, and he had to. Like, I had the issues of Trump last time he was in office, with just him just running his mouth and saying the most fucking absurd things. Like, I always preferred him over the corruption, but still, like, some of the shit he was saying, I was just like, dude, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? You know what they're gonna do to you. You know what they're gonna do to you if you fucking say this. You know how they're gonna respond to you. You know what's gonna happen. Please don't say these things. Please, please, please. And the other thing, you know, I'm trying not to drag on, but people just, a lot of the time people are like, well, Trump's gonna go in there and he's gonna expose everything. He's gonna say this, he's to say that. The reality is he can't go in there and tell you what's been going on for the last 15, 20 years in this country. He can't do that. And the reason he can't do that is because it will make people panic or revolt or cause some sort of chaos. Because imagine if he got in there and he exposed everything that has been done for the last 15 years to this country and to the tax-paying people, to the voter. And trust me, things have happened. He goes in there and he knows what has happened with these past administrations. They have money, they have power, they hide everything. But there's records of these things happening. They're just not exposed to the public. He goes in there knowing that he can't tell the public these things. And that's what they have on him. That's the last thing they have on Trump, is they go home at night knowing that he knows each and every one of their skeletons. You know, the Obama administration, the Clintons, the Bushes. They crack a grin every single night, I guarantee you, knowing that he knows these things, but he can't tell these things to the public because the public will freak the fuck out. So that's why he's like, when he's in there, he's always slowly sort of unveiling things, like this trickle thing, you know, throughout the years. That's like why he went in there, looked at the JFK files and didn't release them. You know, he's just sort of trickled them out because these are things he can't tell the public because of the way the public will react to them. And the people who are guilty of doing these things, they know that, and that's why they'll never be persecuted or prosecuted for these things. I should say persecuted. I sound like bloody fucking Mary, but prosecuted for these things because the way the public will react to, like, you know, it's just like with the Wuhan thing. You couldn't outright tell the public that COVID came from a lab because of the way the public would have fucking reacted to it. You had to slowly trickle it out throughout the years. Yeah, this was a man-made virus. You know, like it didn't come from a fucking bat in the wet market. This was a slow, gradual process of telling you this throughout a period of what, like 4 to 5, 6 years. It took us that long to admit that it came from a lab. It's the same when he goes in there and people are like accusing, you know, Bill Clinton of having ties with Epstein. Sure, he probably does. He does. He has flight records. But these things are not going to be confirmed by any official sitting president anytime soon because of the way the public will respond to it. If I woke up tomorrow and heard everything that I've suspected was true, I would freak out. I would feel lied to. I'd feel cheated. I'd feel abused. And so would everybody else. And that is not a good public reaction to how these things should play out. Because I'm telling you, like, I suspect these things are true, and suspecting these things are true are one thing, then having them confirmed is another. You know, having them confirmed is like you flip that switch and now it's like, okay, I'm self-destruct mode, and that would be the rest of the country as well if they learn these things overnight, which is why we will never hear these things in a week or, you know, through the process of years. We'll probably learn these things as we get older and die bitter old men. I know that was a long tirade that started from just the simple act of fishing, and this is precisely why I need to do something like that. You know, like we all need to do something simple and less convoluted and less sort of grabbing at the ears and eyes of everyone online and those around us for attention, for views and likes and clicks and spreading the truth. You know, like we need to take a step away from that. Let this new administration just come in and just kind of push everything to the side and let them slowly work to getting things back to fucking normal. That's what we need. For real. For real. Okay, I guess I'm probably gonna use that fishing. This will be the first time I fish in a long time. Gross.